Painted, and today I'm going to introduce to you a new feature color from the Fusion Mineral Paint line. So for this week, we are going to celebrate Champness. Champness is a beautiful light blue color. I can show it to you on our sample block. And I'm going to just show you guys a closer look at the color, along with some things that it complements well, different pairings for stains, also different complementary colors, along with different waxes, and also using stains as a top coat to really accent and change a piece. Champness does come in the pint size along with our tester size as well. So let's take a closer look at the color. So Champness all on its own is a beautiful, rich color. But what I want to show you guys first is how it pairs beautifully with like natural stained wood. As you can see, it's just resting on my workshop table, and it looks great with, it looks great with medium tone stains, and also it looks nice with dark ones. So my top picks for the pairings, I love it with driftwood. It kind of creates like a beachy coastal look. So that pairs beautifully. Cappuccino, this one's very similar to the stain that's actually on my table, and you can tell that one is very complementary. And then if we want a little bit more contrast, we can go even really dark, like ebony. So this is a really great option if you want to do a painted piece where maybe you want to leave the top of it stained and paint the base. It gives you an idea of some stains that look really nice along with our feature color. Now, besides stains, Champness also looks beautiful with some of our paint colors in the line. Everything always looks great with whites, but my top picks for what pairs well with this tone would be the limestone. It has a little bit of like yellow undertones along with the raw silk and the champagne. I like this tone of a white better than a bright white just because whenever you're working with blues, a complementary color with blues is also yellow. So when I'm going for a white, the ones that have the yellow undertones, just in my opinion, look a little bit more visually pleasing to the eye. And also if you want to contrast, the buttermilk cream, it tones really, the tone is nice with the Champness, so this color complements as well. Now if I was doing a two-tone piece, let's say for example a hutch where I wanted to paint the entire outside with the Champness, but I wanted to do a pop of color on the inside back wall, and let's say I just kind of did not want to go for a white tone, my top picks personally would be, I think, linen. Linen pairs beautifully with it. I also love the light grays, such as our little lamb. And like we mentioned before, if we want to make it a little bit more fun and vibrant, the buttermilk cream. Okay, so let's now take a closer look at the color itself. One thing I want to point out is this is a color that I think looks a little bit different in the paint container than it does when you put it out. So I have the same color, and I always like to store my paints in my little squeeze workshop bottles, but I want to show you guys right away the color on my plate does look a little bit different than the color in the jar. So I don't want you to be alarmed by that. Just make sure that whenever you're working with the paint, you give it a really good shake, or using a stir stick, stir it up well ahead of time. And then don't be scared when you see it on your plate or your bowl, or if you're even, first apply it to your piece and it looks a little bit different. This is the true color. So I'm working over just a pine sample board, and I want to show you guys the coverage. I am using my Stahlmeister. You guys know this is my favorite brush. It's the pointed sash. But I want to show you guys, this one has amazing coverage. And even, working over this raw wood, it looks like this can be a one coat coverage. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but like I always say, go ahead and apply 2 thin coats to any of your furnishing pieces. Even though it looks like it can be one coat, just for some added durability, go ahead and do 2 thin coats. But this just shows you. Beautiful coverage on the first coat. So this is great for sign makers too. I'll give you guys a close-up. And now I'm going to go ahead and allow this to dry. Now that the first layer of paint has dried, you can tell the coverage is awesome, and because this is a sample board, I'm going to skip doing the second layer, but please remember that if it is a piece of furniture, I highly recommend that you put a second thin layer of paint. So what we're going to do today is I want to show you guys some options you have for top coating. Now, the Champness does have the built-in top coat, so it's durable all on its own. You don't have to put in a top coat, but I just want to show you guys a fun way to, just give your piece a little bit more visual interest. Now, with this color, it pairs beautifully with some of the waxes in the line. I absolutely love it with the black wax, and I'm going to show you that today, along with the espresso, and also I really like it with the aging wax too. So what we're gonna do today is I'm gonna show you probably the black and the espresso on this side, and then I'm gonna leave this portion open just so you can see them next to each other. And then I wanna use our driftwood. That was the one that I kind of said creates like a beachy coastal effect. I'm gonna do that on this upper corner so you guys can see what it looks like with that as well. So starting with our black wax, I'm just using the Stahlmeister wax brush. I'm gonna just go ahead and do full coverage of the wax, but you're gonna see how neat it looks over the Champness. And I'm also gonna include a picture. There's a really popular picture by Fusion, and you'll see a dresser, and I'll include it in here, that shows what it looks like with like a darker color wax on top. And I think if I recall correctly, they used the aging wax, or it's the espresso. I'm not positive. I can find that out for you guys. So I'm gonna go ahead, have the black up top, and then I'm going to use the espresso, and I'm gonna let it set for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go ahead and wipe back. Another option, if you kind of wanted to lighten it versus darkening it, we do have a liming wax in the line, and that is it's like a white wax. Over a color like this, you might need to put like 2 thin layers of the liming wax to get it to really show up, because it is a lighter one. I'm gonna go ahead and just wipe it back. I think my favorite personally is I love it with the black wax. I think it creates a really pretty shade. But like what you could do on a piece of furniture is you wouldn't have to put the black wax everywhere, but just kind of like accent, let's say there's carvings in the doors, or some nice molding you want to really stand out, just adding the wax to those areas and leaving the rest, the regular color would be beautiful. And so I'm gonna leave this part open, and then on this side, I'm gonna show you guys the driftwood. Now, our stain and finishing oil, the stain and finishing oil is an oil base. So I don't have the right brush I would like to use, so I'm just gonna actually dip some of my lint-free rag into the oil, because this is just a demo. But normally I would tell you to use a brush when working with this product too. And possibly you could put gloves on if you don't want your hands getting any of the oil on it, just because it's a little bit harder to clean up. So I'm gonna put the oil on this side. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put it on this whole bottom half and then leave the top half natural so you guys can see it. Kind of fill it in the grooves. But this kind of creates like a cool coastal look. And there you have it, so you can get another idea. So this is the Champness all by itself. Up here we have it with the espresso wax. Down here the black wax. And over here it just gives it a tiny little like shading effect, but this is the driftwood stain and finishing oil. Now there's so many other options you can do. You can layer other colors, using like a resist, but this just gives you guys a closer look at our feature color of the week, Champness.